So, we're very thrilled to have with us today Hitesh Motwani. He's an AI expert and a leading voice in the industry. Hitesh has helped businesses and professionals unlock the power of AI driven automation, generative AI, and no code AI solutions. Sorry. Through this masterclass, Hitesh will break down AI agents in the simplest way possible and also show you how you can build your own AI agent, your own, basically AI powered automation without writing a single line of code. I think that's very interesting because mostly we think that anytime when we're using AI, either we can use only ChatGPT, etc., or a lot of people think that AI would only be used for coding. But Hitesh is here to basically break that norm and tell everybody that no, that is not the case. In case you're there in any other non-tech kind of a role, also, it's going to be amazing. Like you can see Hitesh's profile over here, he has worked with like a lot of big names as well, trained firms like Google, Microsoft, all of these employees. They have been his, mentees, a lot of them. Okay, so whether you're a developer, product manager, entrepreneur, or just AI curious, you'll walk away with a hands-on knowledge how to start AI-driven solutions, and that's going to be like chutki mein through this particular session. So I do hope that all of you participate and enjoy the session to the fullest. If you have any questions, any help you need, please drop a message on the chat. So without any further ado, let's dive in. Hitesh, over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Garima. And hi, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. I hope all of you are doing pretty well. First of all, if you all can hear me loud and clear, give me a quick yes on chat box. And this session is going to be extremely, extremely interactive. Most importantly, it's going to be live, hands-on, activities which we're going to see today. We're going to look at, right? And most importantly, I'll probably show you some things which actually probably will fascinate you a lot. Okay. So before I kind of begin and I kind of go ahead, um, and show you how what can we do and how things can be done, let me just show you what AI agents are, right? So today my aim is very simple. My aim is to kind of help you. How can you essentially be using something called as agentic AIs, right? So we've heard a lot about generative AI, Chat GPT, LLM, large language models, right? But nowadays, especially in the last couple of years, especially last, I think last 1 year especially, there's been a lot of buzz about agentic AI and agents, AI agents particularly. So my idea is to kind of demystify this world of AI agents for all of you, help you understand that how can you build one for yourself, right? And that too, without writing a single line of code, because a lot of us, who basically are in this space right now, are not developers. You don't come from a development background or a coding background. So why should they be left behind? And today, trust me, we're living in a golden era where anybody, no matter what walk of life you come from, no matter what's your background, whether you know coding, do not know coding, it doesn't really matter. All of us over here today can use AI and we'll be able to leverage AI for ourselves, which was not possible before. It was not possible about a couple of years back. But today, thanks to technology, thanks to AI, thanks to all the researchers who are researching relentlessly in this space right now, we all have a power to actually automate our work and make our life more simpler, which was not the case earlier, but today actually it is. And this is something that I'm going to teach you today. How can you actually start building things for yourself? And most importantly, if one has to look at, you know, how things are working, then how do you actually go about it, right? So without further ado, let's begin. Let's understand the space of generative AI and how does it really work. So before I start, let me show you what generative AI is all about, right? And how it can essentially, and what is the difference in generative AI? Right? Sorry, what is the difference in agentic AI particularly? Let's understand that. So to kind of make life a little simpler, I have this piece of um, workflow over here. But don't really get overwhelmed by it. This is basically my agentic AI workflow, right? Let me just show you some cool stuff. Then I'll show you how do we build all these things right now, as we move along on our way and what typically happens over here. Yeah. Just give me a second. Just one second, guys. Let me just close some unwanted windows in my PC so that it's a little cleaner UI for all of you. So, typically if you see any large language models, they are unable to speak, they're unable to speak to like, us, and they are unable to speak to your own database. But agentic AI typically allows you to automate your life and automate your work. Let me give you a very simple example to you, what I really mean by this. So imagine that, I have a meeting tomorrow, let's take with Garima. And me and Garima, we have a meeting tomorrow at say 12 o'clock to discuss how can we empower you guys further with agentic AI. And I want to quickly put a calendar. Now, how will I typically do it? I have to simply go here, go to my Google Calendar, open my Google Calendar, right? And then essentially I have to, when I open Google Calendar, I have to simply go to my date for tomorrow. And then I have to typically click over here, put a meeting request over here. And it's a lot of pain, right? But let me just go to my agentic AI dashboard right now. Let me simply ask agentic AI tool to, like, can you please book, can you please block 9 a.m. IST tomorrow with Garima Garg from upGrad for a meeting from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. IST. That's it. So when I put a simple prompt, what's going to happen is my agentic AI will get to work. It's a little slow because it's running on the cloud, so it's going to take a couple of minutes right now, right, for executing this task. But when we kind of deploy it professionally in a cloud, I mean, it'll be actually much, much faster. But now what's actually happening is this tool of mine will go to my calendar, check my existing meetings, and it's going to call an agent, basically, which is about a calendar agent, to go and check my calendar. And this agent will check my calendar, look at my appointments, and if my slot is free at 9 o'clock, it's going to block my meeting with Garima at 9 a.m. in the morning for a discussion, right? That's what it'll do. It's working a little slowly, so we just have a little bit of patience over here. And I'm using an agentic AI workflow by the name called as Langflow. So Langflow essentially is nothing but a completely no code, low code based solution where today a person like you and me who doesn't know coding, doesn't know technology, doesn't know any of these things, right? We can also basically go ahead and build an agent like this, which can actually automate your work processes. You're going to Google Calendar right now, trying to create an event over here. That's it. It booked a meeting with Garima from upGrad, March 25th, 9 to 9:30 a.m. And attendees is garima.garg@upgrad.com. By the way, I don't even give Garima's email ID. But because me and Garima exchange emails right now, right? Automatically Garima will get an invite. And just to give you a perspective, if I go to my calendar right now, all right, and refresh my calendar over here, and actually I should be able to get a meeting request for myself. All right. And that, my friends, the beauty of basically a calendar, right? So typically what happens is that it's going to simply execute the event. And when I click over here, it's also going to take me to that particular event of mine automatically. And this is all automated. This is all done with complete no code, low code solution currently, right? And see, meeting with upGrad. I don't know why it's in 2:30 over here. Maybe it's a PST time actually, but yeah, but typically it does that for me automatically. And that is basically your, I mean, I have to fix that thing at the back end, but I'll do that. But this is basically your calendar. And suppose if I ask my agentic AI that, hey, let's finish this thing first over here for me. Suppose if I ask him, okay, can you please check any email from Marilyn and help me understand what request she has. Now, once again, what this agent will do is this agent will actually go to my email, check all my emails for me, right? After check my emails, typically over here, it's going to actually go out there and find my email for Madeline and actually help me with she got a request of generating a AI program for me right now. Okay, and see, it actually tells us meeting for Garima, what time, what date, what email ID, right? A calendar invite being sent over here, right? And everything is done through a complete no-code platform currently. So this is basically the beauty, of these tools. that actually they can, simply put, they can actually, build solutions for you. Okay. And all without no code. How many guys found this to be super cool? Give me a super cool on chat box. Found this to be super duper cool. And this is what I'm going to teach you today. I'm going to teach you exactly that. How do you actually build these kind of agents all by yourself using agentic AI workflows? Okay. So actually, let's see. Okay, let me just probably minimize this thing for myself. Okay, so now once again, it's going to take a couple of minutes over here to kind of get this done, to adjusting done. And let's see if I can go to my calendar, refresh my calendar over here. Right. And yeah, let's come over here. 9 a.m. meeting with Garima, 9 to 9:30 a.m., whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So once again, it's gonna now call an agent of mine, which actually go to my email inbox, check all my emails dynamically. And after it checks my emails, it's gonna simply write me, tell me exactly what it is. And by the way, I've got different agents in the back end. It's not just one agent. I've got different agents running at the back. I've got a calendar agent, I've got an email agent, I've basically got a weather agent, I've got a URL agent, I've got a calculator agent. Right? So there are multiple agents running at the back end right now, which are doing this work for me currently. I just find it a little slow because I'm currently on a low resource version. But when I deploy it professionally, this will become like as fast as your chat GPT, right? So as I can be used to build a bot on LinkedIn that will reach out to people for us. Well, technically you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend doing those kind of things because typically reaching out people on LinkedIn can be a little dicey because you hit a rate limit, unfortunately, right? And once you hit a rate limit, it's basically going to, I mean, your account can also get blocked. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. But yes, it can do all of these kinds of things, to be very honest, right? So yes, I believe in Copilot will do similar things for us. Well, yes, Copilot can also do similar things for you, but Copilot comes at a cost. What I'm building is absolutely free, okay, almost like a free resource, and I'm not really typically paying a lot for this kind of service, to be very honest. So that's what it is. Okay, it's absolutely free and actually it's very cost intensive. Okay, just give me one second. Let me just check my agents. Okay, so I'm going to teach you this at the end. I'm just showing you like a trailer right now to help you understand. Actually, help you understand like what are we doing over here. But don't worry, I'm going to teach you. So look at this, guys. It's already done. So now it says finished. I found 2 emails of Madeline. So basically, she wanted a 2-day program for me, right? This is basically an email currently. It's an email number 2. And look at this. It gives you a summary of the email as well. How many guys found this to be wow? Give me a quick wow on chat box. Yeah, found this to be learn at the end of this workshop. How many guys want to do that? Yeah. Did you guys find this to be super duper cool, everybody? Yep. Okay. So don't worry, I'm going to teach you at the end of the workshop. I mean, by the end of the session, you learn how to do this all by yourself. Okay. So just to kind of create some excitement and show a trailer of what's going to come for you before actually we get there. Okay. All right. So with that note, let's begin. Let's understand let's understand exactly, what is AI agents and how do we build an AI agent for ourselves? And what really goes behind building an AI agent for ourselves right now? Okay. Here we go. So today I'm going to demystify this world of AI agents for you, okay, and help you understand exactly how do we build one for ourselves. So now, what are agents? So agents are nothing but they are digital assistants who can do tasks for you, but using human language. Now you might say, even ChatGPT can do tasks for us, right? But what's the difference in a ChatGPT and basically an AI agent? So what happens is ChatGPT and other tools, unfortunately, they are stateless. Stateless means that they can just give you a response of the question and answer what they've been trained on, right? Now they don't have access to your data. They don't have access to your Gmail. They don't have access to your calendar. They don't have access to your into your Google Drive, for example, right? So they can't really do much for you. And everything is dependent on the prompting, basically. So whatever we do basically basis on the prompting, right? But when it comes to AI agents, we can automate our mundane tasks. So let's take, for example, that I'm a owner of a travel company And I want to basically keep on building what we call this travel itinerary for my clients. Now, whenever a client comes to me and asks me for a travel itinerary, I have to simply go to my itinerary, look at the previous itineraries, like, and ask person questions like, "Okay, what's the number of days you want to get into? Where do you basically want to go? How many days you want to get into?" Right? I want to ask these questions to them. Now, when I ask these questions to these people, then basis that my bot should give an itinerary to them. Now, in Chat GPT and all, I have to simply put a prompt every single time. But I want to automate this process. So whenever a user comes to me, I want to simply automate this entire process for me, and I want to actually do this automatically. And that's where AI agents come in. So AI agents are like individual, agents. It's like having a team member of yours, and these team members of yours basically, actually kind of get things little faster for you, right? So basically, I mean, they are individual employees who are working for different departments, and you assign them roles. For example, I can assign one guy to become an expert in food, one guy to become expert in air tickets, one guy to become expert in, say, for example, you know, going and booking itinerary for me. And then these three people work together, exchange notes among themselves, and finally give me an entire end-to-end, travel plan for my client in a couple of minutes. Right? That's what really it is. Okay. So that's how it really works typically. So Hardik, these agents can be made very, very faster. For that, you have to go for a paid resource. You have to pay for it. Right? Currently, we are on a free resource right now. So the free resource, what typically happens is they allocate like the GPU, minimal GPUs to you, right? But typically, when I increase my GPU clusters, I can probably get this done at lightning speed, just like a Chat GPT does, right? So fast speed comes at a cost. Currently, the idea is I'm just educating you on how to build an AI agent. When you want to build professionally, okay, you typically can automate all of your stuff automatically. Okay, just to answer your question. So I'll answer all your questions toward the end. Let me finish the part of AI agents. I'm going to answer all your questions at the end, and typically we can discuss about these things in detail. Okay, so don't really worry about it. Okay, so now let's kind of understand what is the difference in a regular large language model and a LLM power agent. Okay, so typically, all the agents are, as I told you, are stateless. Stateless means they don't have any superpowers in going and meeting external tools or external, bots for that matter. But we actually give them features to that by ourselves. So just to give an example to you, like Chat GPT, right? Now, Chat GPT cannot really do a real-time search on the web, but now recently they got an update. And if you notice, when you kind of go to a Chat GPT, for example, right, they essentially give you the search button over here, right? Now, this feature of search technically is an AI agent, is an agentic AI feature, right? Earlier, Chat GPT did not have a knowledge base. So suppose if I ask him, can you tell me what is your last knowledge base, up to, right? So in this case, what will happen is, it will not essentially use the search feature. It will simply say, okay, my last knowledge base is up to September 2021. For example, if I ask him, yeah, okay, can you tell me about what to do for 5 days in Singapore? Right. So now it's not going to search the web. It's going to simply go out there and figure out what should be done for 5 days right now over here. Right. And why? Because LLMs typically don't go to search engine every single time. They will first go to the database, they'll find answers for you from there, and then give the output to you. Now, what if I simply say, can you tell me about the latest events or workshops in Singapore, for example, right? Now, this is a question where I'm asking AI, tell me about the latest events or workshop. Now, in this case, it will use what we call as a search agent. It will go and search the web right now and then probably give you the latest information for you at this point in time, right? So what happened right now? ChatGPT over here used a search agent for us to help us with the latest info, which ideally it did not do it earlier when I asked him for an itinerary. Okay. And this typically is what a agentic AI does. Agentic AI gives LLM superpowers to actually go beyond the normal knowledge base and go and do some things for them which normal LLMs could not typically do for themselves earlier. I hope this explanation and definition would have given some clarity to you in terms of what exactly are AI agents. Are we clear, guys? What is the difference in a normal large language model and typically an AI agent over here? If you are very clear, give me a quick yes on chat box. Yeah. So large language model typically will go to its database and search fetch information. An agentic AI can do multiple tasks simultaneously for you right now. Okay. So I can basically get multiple people do stuff simultaneously, or I can also put together and look at things over here. Right. So Kornepati, hold on to your questions. I'll answer all your questions towards the end. Just hold on to that right now. Okay. Most of your questions will get answered through my presentation. And I'll answer all the questions towards the end. So just hold on to that question of yours. So typically what happens is a regular large language model will have text generation. It will have features to generate text for you. Okay, it will understand some context for you right now. But an LLM powered agent typically will use something called as tools. Now, what are tools? Tools are features, or they basically are external support systems for them, which give them superpower. Okay. So imagine this, that suppose you do not know coding, correct? But then you have an assistant or you have a friend whom which you can always consult for coding every single time, and you can build an application for yourself. Now suppose you do not say, for example, know about booking flight tickets, and you want to find cheapest flight tickets. So again, you have one more friend whose expertise in booking flight tickets at the cheapest price for you. These friends of yours who can do additional tasks for you are like AI agents typically for yourself right now. Okay. And most importantly, they also, I mean, normal LLMs do not have memory, or they do not really store information of the past. I mean, you start using them with an API, but LLM powered agents have a lot of memory with them. They can remember the past conversations to a large extent, and they can even do complex tasks for you with absolute ease at this point in time. Okay, and that's what AI agents typically do. Now, let's understand difference between a traditional agent and an AI agent. So let's take, for example, I kind of asked him, what's the weather in Tokyo right now? Usually, a large language model will simply say, I don't have access to real-time weather data in Tokyo. As a large language model, I don't have access to current weather data, so I can't really provide this data to you, unfortunately. But the moment I use an AI agent, it will basically be able to give me weather data update as well automatically. Okay. So just to kind of give you an example right now, let me take you to a chat GPT playground. Okay, playground is like a backend application which is normally used by developers, but that's like a no code, low code app for us right now. And anybody can actually experiment and build some simple tools, simple software for them currently. So let me just show you something. Yeah. This is like just like a backend application right now, which I'm using currently. What if I ask him, what is the weather in Tokyo? Right. Then basically agents say, I'm able to provide the data to you. I don't have real-time update at this point in time. Why? Because LLMs are stateless. Now, what if I ask the same question, let's say, for example, to my chat GPT with search feature? You normally see nowadays they've attached this agent over here, right? And somebody asks the same question with this, I enable the search agent. It will simply search the web and tell me that within Tokyo is XYZ 56 degree, mostly clear. Okay. This is basically what agent does right now, typically. Let's come back. Okay. So now, technically, your all these apps like Gemini, ChatGPT have an agent for themselves. Now, let's take when I want to build an LLM agent, what do I need for that? So you require a couple of things right now. The very first thing that you require is a foundation large language model. What's a foundation model? Foundation model typically means that you need to work with any LLM, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, whatever you want to use. You want to pick up one of those large language models, right? Which is a lot of knowledge and which also is super smart and super intelligent for you at this point in time, right? Second thing is you need to also give them an instruction at the back end, which is basically what we call as a prompt engineering layer. And you kind of give a simple instruction at the back and you guide the AI to become something for you, right? And that basically is also required to build your agentic AI at this point in time. It's your prompt engineering layer. Third, you need to also work with tools. Like for example, now, when I asked my AI agent to fetch my email or to go and book a meeting invite with Garima, for example, correct? So what I did was I was using a tool at the backend, and this tool was a Gmail tool or a calendar tool, wherein I gave access to these backend tools with my personal data. And now what's happening is when I'm asking a question, these agents will go read my emails, fetch my data, put it across to the LLMs. LLM will read that email for me and give the answer to us automatically. Right? That's basically what we call as tools. So there are tools for multiple things. There are tools for search engines. There are basically tools for, calculator. There are tools for, say for example, reading your email, reading your inbox. There are multiple tools available at this point in time for yourself. Right? So you want to basically work with some tools. Next, you also want to work with some what we call as memory systems. Now, what is a memory? Now, LLMs don't have a lot of memory, by the way, right? So typically they only have memory of one question itself. So if I really want, I can also ask my large language model to go and remember last 6 chats, 7 chats, 10 chats, 20 chats. That's called memory. So I can also give my agents a memory, and I can essentially use, them to let them say memory for myself. Actually, give me a better output. Okay. So I can do that as well. And finally, I also require something called as a reasoning agent or reasoning model. Reasoning model basically means what? When I have a large task, let's take, for example, I want to build a small little, website, okay, for myself. Now, usually what will happen is LLMs suck at, building a good website for themselves at this point in time. So, LLMs will try to break my task into small buckets and eventually try to build me, a perfect website. Now, let me give an example to you of what I really mean by it. Okay, let me just show you something very interesting to kind of put the step for you. And this will also show you that how different LLMs right now are moving towards a normal LLM framework to an agentic AI framework. Let's take a come to my chat GPT and let me use a simple basic model of chat GPT 4o mini. Let me simply ask chat GPT 4o mini that, can you help me build a website about, basics of LLM and ensure that, it plays like a flashcard, yeah, which can teach people about LLMs. As of now, just make 3 flashcards. Okay, that's it. So now what will happen is when I give simple instruction to the LLM, now ChatGPT 4 mini typically is not like an agentic framework, right? So they basically will not really break down my tasks into multiple pieces, but they will try to see if they have a reference of something with them. And when they have a reference of something with them in the back end, it'll actually start writing a code at this point in time. Okay. Now I'm also going to put the same thing to test with a software called as Claude. And why reason I'm doing that, I'm going to show you that this reasoning is one of the biggest thing that's a race between all LLMs right now. So why DeepSeek is so powerful as compared to a Chat GPT? Because DeepSeek can reason better, right? Maybe the same thing on Claude as well. Now, between Claude and ChatGPT, you'll see a fast difference in terms of outputs currently, right? And see, currently it's kind of, so broke down task and saying, I'm going to structure this into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I'm going to give you basic code for your website right now. And it's going to like write a simple basic code for me currently. Let do that current as of now. Let me also use the same thing on Claude too. We just do it one more time. Looks like all websites are down today. They're very slow apparently for some reason. I don't know why. That's so. Okay. So now let's see which one does better. So what I've seen is Claude, it tries to take your task and it breaks your task into small steps. Basically, small steps, it basically will now try to build me a website, which actually look like a flashcard though. And even ChatGPT will try to do the same for me, but ChatGPT might kind of just break down currently. Let's see. This is ChatGPT kind of gave this to me right now, right? And let's simply execute this and let's see how does the website come out to be. I'll copy this stuff, come to the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, viewer. Now, it doesn't require too much of coding. They don't really get worried about the code part. Okay. Trust me, when I say this, you'll be able to do these things without code completely. So Claude will do this without a code right now. Okay. But I just want to show you that primitive chat GPTs don't have these features as of now. That's why I have to use agentic AI to get things done. Right. So now let me just go back to my chat GPT. I'm going to go to my JavaScript. Yeah. And see, guys. So this is a flashcard made by, made by ChatGPT right now. Okay, so when I hold a mouse, see what's an LLM, how LLM does, what is the application of LLM. So how will you rate this from 1 to 5, by the way? 1 means okay, 1 means bad, 5 means excellent. How will you rate this from 1 to 5? What do you just build right now, currently? Yeah, it sucks, right? I mean, I wouldn't rate it, I would rate actually 1 or 2. It's actually very, very bad. Let's now see how does Claude do over here, and what does actually Claude do in terms of this right now. Okay. Let's go to our Claude. Not add it yet. Wait. Okay. Let me just put this prompt. Wait. I think Claude looks down today. So normally Claude will do a far better job on this as compared to a chat GPT. I've tried Claude like multiple times, and I've also built websites on Claude as well. So Claude uses a reasoning ability. It basically will kind of take your task, break it down, and after breaking it down, it should simply build a small app for you. Okay. See, gathering my thoughts here, be right here. So it's actually thinking, how do I approach this problem? And then it'll basically try to build a tech stack for me. And finally, it'll start writing like a code for me on its own. I'm going to make the code. Look at this, guys. LLM basics. Click on the card and flip it. So I'm going to flip it. Okay. Let me just come over here. It's my first answer, right? Okay. Second answer and third answer. So, and I'm gonna when I click on the card, I actually should flip. It's not flipping right now somehow. Let me just do it one more time. Okay, so this is got a little bug over here. But okay, from a UX UI perspective, which one do you find better? Is Claude better, or is like a chat GPT better? Which one do you find better? And you see, in terms of Claude, it essentially puts everything right out here only, right? So I don't have to like go out there and put things together over here. I can simply put everything over here itself. So you see, Claude is much, much better compared to ChatGPT right now. That's your reasoning ability. So usually, LLMs have these, you need to have these 6 things right over here. Okay. And when you kind of have these things right, that's what really works for you. Now, there are 3 kinds of LLM approaches or 3 kinds of agent approaches that we kind of build with large language models. One is the prompt-based agents. What are prompt-based agents? Where essentially are just giving a prompt and you're getting an answer, right? And you kind of give a backend prompt over here. What are framework-based agents? So you kind of have a framework called LangChain, or you basically use Llama Index. They are frameworks to build agentic AI for yourself, and you can integrate tools and all with it via coding. And third are custom architectures. Where basically you try to build a custom application all by yourself. So consider suppose you're a builder, and suppose like you're kind of building a building over here. Now, one thing is you can buy everything ready-made components over here, right? And one can take ready-made components, and we can simply put it in our building. But then that will make a building less customizable. Second, the standard components. For example, like Celestic, I will need a cement from Ultratech. I need some bricks and mortar from some other company, but I'll basically customize other stuff on my own. And that's like a standard construction, that typically happens. And third is where I do custom architecture. I completely build everything from scratch. I try to find high quality ingredients. I try to mix and match ingredients together and finally build application for myself. Right. Those are 3 frameworks available for you. One is a prompt based framework. One are basically frameworks which are coding based, and third are custom architectures for yourself. Okay. So I hope by far you're able to understand at least basics of LLM agents. If you are very clear so far, give me a clear on chat box. In case you're very clear till now of what AI agents are and what can AI agents do for you. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Now, let me just show you, these three things step by step. Like how do I build a prompt-based agent? Okay, and how my prompting can really change things for you over here. So I can simply come to my LLMs, basically my onto something called as a chat GPT custom GPTs, right? The custom GPTs typically are like your agents only, largely, right? But they are basically prompt-based agents right now. Let me show you how. Okay. So there's something called Explore GPT out here, which you can simply use. And you can simply create a simple GPT for yourself. If you can create GPT out here right now. And suppose I can simply say over here that I want you to become a travel planner. Whenever someone, okay, you should always ask people three questions. Their from and to destination, number of days, and what kind of trip they prefer. For example, romantic, adventure, backpacking, etc. Right? Post which you will search about the required details and give a detailed travel plan. So I'm just simply like putting a simple prompt out here and I'm pressing enter. So now what happens now? The essentially my my custom GPT, will try to, the GPT over here will try to configure these backend messages automatically. So they'll try to write a prompt at the back. Okay. And when they write this prompt at the back, they're simply building like a travel planner agentic AI for me at this point in time. So when I go to my configure over here, as you can see, it'll give a name to the agent, it'll give a description to the agent, it'll also give an instruction to the agent as well. It'll also give some conversation starters, and it'll also enable features like web search, image generation, and canvas for it right now. So ChatGPT does these things automatically for you, right? So you can see right now, it actually will pre-fill these messages for me on its own. Okay, and let's just try it out. You see, now let's take if I just go to a normal, suppose if I go to a normal ChatGPT, let's say I don't go to my agent right now, and if I ask normal ChatGPT that, hey, I want to go to Singapore, help me with a travel plan, right? So AI will simply give a travel plan to you at one shot. It will not think for itself. It will not do anything right now. It will just give travel plan to you automatically. Let me just use my, yeah, see, it didn't ask me any questions over here. Why? Because I haven't trained this chatbot to ask questions, and ChatGPT doesn't know how to ask questions currently. So it'll just simply say day one, day two, do XYZ. But let's put the same question right now to my agent, which I just built right now. Let's see if my agent is asking these questions to me or not. Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. This is my chatbot over here right now. I simply ask same question. Now, this question is also matter to help. But before I start, I need to ask three questions to you. What's your way of traveling from? How many days you want to travel? And what's the kind of travel experience you have? So simply say, I am traveling from Mumbai to Singapore. I want to go for 5 days and I love adventure, right? Now, basis these three inputs, my agent will go and search the web, right? And then it'll actually give me a very quick itinerary on what should be done, how it should be done, where to eat, where to go, right? So day zero, depart from Mumbai, flight suggestion, look for late night flight. Bombay to Singapore usually is about 5.5 hours. Tip, book an early morning flight for you. Day number one, arrive at Sentosa Island, thrills, okay, blah, blah, blah. See, now this is agentic AI, where it was able to ask me questions. Why did it ask questions to me? Because I had told him to ask questions to me right now. Pretty cool, everybody. Yeah. Give me cool chatbot functions to be super duper cool over here, right? So this is basically my simple prompt-based agent. Okay, the first agent that we just built right now over here, prompt-based. Now, I'll not be able to cover custom architecture, but today I'm going to cover framework-based architecture right now. Okay, now where to configure this prompt from? Okay, very simple. I'll tell you how to configure this prompt. So for this, you have to go to your Explore GPTs option. Okay, yeah, I'm using a paid version. This comes with a paid version. This doesn't come with a free version, by the way, of ChatGPT. And you can simply go to this single create over here, and you can create a custom agent of yours, and you can simply give a prompt saying, ask these questions to people, blah, 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 right? And so once I build this bot right now, I can configure. I can simply say travel planner bot Hitesh by Hitesh Motwani. I simply create this particular bot right now. I simply say anyone with the link, and it's GPT store as well. Okay. And I simply give a category. My category essentially is productivity, actually lifestyle. I say this. Now, anyone of you, by the way, can simply go to this bot, just search for this chatbot called Travel Planner by Hitesh Motwani, and you can actually do that for yourself. Okay. So this is something you can do with the prompt-based chatbot right now. So let's actually try to build a chat. Let's try to build an agent right now using free of cost, using a tool called Langflow, right? So I'm just giving it to, don't worry guys, if it's paid, it's okay. Try to learn how to build agents, right? Later on, you can figure out your free and paid resources for yourself, right? But try to learn how to build an agent. It'll be very useful for all of you. Okay. So now let's try to build an agent using a tool called Langflow. Now, Langflow is basically an absolutely free tool. This tool allows you to build an AI agent for yourself without writing a single line of code. They have a drag and drop feature which you can use. And with drag and drop features, I can simply go and build an agentic AI framework for myself. Okay. So this is a framework-based agent where I'm giving a framework. And with my framework, agents are able to build something for myself and put something together. So when you come over here, click on Get Started for free. Is simply sign up with your Google account. Okay, I already have an account though. So I'm going to simply sign in over here with my account. We close all my, codes right now for now. So if you open DataStax, DataStax is like a cloud server. They give you like a cloud platform absolutely free. And what Langflow does, Langflow essentially is allowing you to install this Langflow tool on a cloud to use it without any piece of code. So you simply click on build with Langflow over here. Now, when you click on this particular button, it's going to take a couple of minutes for it to configure itself. After it configures itself, it's going to basically take you to an interface, which is like a no-code, low-code interface to build your first AI agent right now. Okay, here's my agentic AI framework. So I'm simply going to come over here and click on the option called New Flow, right? So there are three basically flows out here. One is basic prompting, in which what we just did right now, we give a prompt and we ask AI to ask us questions, and basically the questions we asked us to give some questions, right? That's your prompting skill, right? They have a button over here called agent. So we're going to build a simple agent right now, and we're going to use this agent to, do our work currently. Let's try to click on simple agent over here. Let's give a simple name. Let's simply say first AI agent. Now, before I come to this AI agent, let me just kind of, help you with the understanding of Langflow a little bit, some basics of Langflow before I kind of get there and before I come over here. Okay, that you're able to understand if you're doing it for the first time. It is a little confusing for some of you to build AI agents. Let me just show you a very basic framework on how it should be done. Let me just take a blank flow for now. So this is basically a very simple, this is called a canvas. Okay. And to make any AI agent, you require two things. Number one, you require a chat input. Input basically means where you're going to simply put your message. Okay. Chat input. And you also basically require something called as a chat output. Right? Because you also want to get the answers. So typically you'll have a chat output, right? And in chat input, when you give your input, and chat output, you basically get the output. So you just connect both of these together. Now, when both of them are connected, right? Whenever you connect something over here, you need to simply build it. What's called a build? Build simply means that there'll be a small little play button coming over here. When you click on the play button, it'll actually build a path between both of these things right now. But currently we don't have an agent in the middle. Let's try to put a LLM in the middle, which can answer a question for us right now. Okay, so first we'll try to get an agent over here. So on the left-hand side, you have this drag and drop nodes, which you can use. And you can drag and drop, things from here. And you can build any agents for yourself. Let's take, I simply took an agent over here. This is my agent, right? And we can actually choose any LLM of our choice. So currently, if you see over here, we have OpenAI. OpenAI is not the only one. We can use Anthropic, we can use Azure, we can use Google Generative AI, Grok, NVIDIA, OpenAI. We can choose anything that you want. Let's take if you want to build something absolutely free, you can use something called as Google Generative AI. Google Generative AI gives you API for absolutely free of cost. Now you look at an API. What's an API? API is like a connector between you and the LLM, right? So I can actually connect my large language model to the software by getting an API, right? So I'm simply going to go to this website called AI Studio by Google. Okay. And once you come over here, you can actually build a free API from here itself. So let me just copy my API from here. Okay. Currently, let me just pause my screen. So once I've copied so you can just create API and make a free API for yourself. I'm going to make a free API, you come back over here and you paste it over here. Okay. So once you paste the API over here, you typically are just telling the AI, that you connect it to Google Generative AI tool. Okay. And once you've done that, you also, if you want to get an output as well, let me just probably get an output, chat output, right? And there are these nodes over here. As you can see, it's my input. So input is like what I'm going to put my text. This text, I want it to go to, my LLM of Google Generative AI. And then whatever Google Generative AI responds back to me, I want to probably see this output. So I can simply just drag and drop response from here and take it to my chat output. Like this, what I've simply done is I have simply built my first, basic connection between input and output over here. And once you build a connection, you simply have to press this small little button over here. Okay, this is a small little error coming with my API key, I guess. Just 1 second, wait. Agent, perform tasks, finish editing. Okay, Google Generative AI. Okay, let me just probably choose Gemini. So you can use a model from your whatever models you essentially want. Use Gemini Flash, Gemini 2.1 Flash. Okay, you put an API key over here. You just see my API key is perfect. Agent tool. Okay, let's simply run this one more time. Sometimes these free LLMs typically can cause some issue for us. So if doesn't really work, yeah, I can also basically use something called as um, OpenAI. So but I can use Grok, I can use Google Generative, I can use OpenAI, anything that I want right now. Okay, let it happen. Make it like a tool mode. I think a little bit long than was first requested. Let's have some patience. Let me just try one more time. Wait. Let me just build this entire thing one more time. Let me just go to my agent. I can drop it over here. Okay. Let me just take my OpenAI API key. That's a little better. Just 1 second, guys. Let me just take my key because sometimes what happens is OpenAI performs better in terms of its accuracy and its stability. Just give me a second. So by the way, if you're going to get your OpenAI API key, you have to go to the site called as OpenAI API key. Okay. Just go to platform.openai.com for yourself. Click on login and you can just create a login ID password over here. And then you can pay about $5 and you can basically get your API key from here as well. Okay. So you can do that for yourselves. So once you log in over here, and simply come back to this thing called create an API key, and you can see I've got multiple API keys over here. If you can create your secret key, just give a test name over here, and simply say create API key. So do that, you're going to get an API key over here, which you can use for your project right now. Okay, that's how simple it is. So let me just take one of my existing API keys. Just 1 second, guys. I'm just copying my keys as I'm sharing, just stopping my screen share. Okay, here we go. So I've got my key over here. I'm going to paste my key in this scenario. Okay, that's it. All right. I'm going to my chat input to my input over here, and the response basically to my output over here. Okay. So once I build a connection over here, let me just already verify the connection. And once the connection is built, I can give a simple playground over here. Once I go to the playground, I can simply just say hello, and I can ask a question over here to my chatbot. Okay. Let things happen. Sometimes a little slow. Okay. By then it actually happens. Let me just kind of show you what kind of we do ahead over here. We just stop this one more time. We just kind of execute this one more time for you. Okay. Yeah. Now agent is built. My agent's connected right now. So should do agent built successfully. And once I go to my playground, I suppose if I ask a question saying, hello, how are you? So now what's going to happen? My question is going to go to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is going to give me an example. It's going to ask me, tell me, I'm just program, so I do not have feeling, but I'm here to ready to help you whatever I ask. So I say, what is AI? And then basically, it's going to again go to ChatGPT, call the answer from there, and then give me an answer saying that, okay, artificial intelligence is blah, 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 blah. So what I did is I just simply established my connection to a ChatGPT right now, right? By giving my API key over here. Now, typically you see this tools stuck at mathematical equations. What if I ask him, okay, what is 34 multiplied by 6 and multiplied by this thing, multiplied by, okay, whatever, divide by something, and, minus 98. It's like a very random, question I'm asking AI. And when I ask a random question to AI on mathematics, usually they suck at mathematics. Okay. So they'll simply say first calculate 34 times 676. Let's just multiply with this by this. Now divide by 76. Now subtract 98. This is the final answer. Let's see if this is the final answer or not. I'm not really sure. Let's simply use a simple calculator right now on Google. Let's simply paste this equation of ours. Math solver. Okay. Just give my question to it. Go to a simple math solver. Let me give my math problem. Okay. It's 11379098. Let's see if the answer is coming right or not. On my answer line flow over here. This is 11317337. Okay. And this answer is what? 1137798. So the answer is absolutely wrong. Why? Because these tools suck at mathematics. Right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply go ahead and I'm going to actually call the calculator agent to see if you can calculate this better and actually you can get a better answer over here because all the large language models suck at mathematics. So I want to now call a AI agent, which can actually do mathematics for me, right? So I'll simply come down over here. And this time, on the left-hand side, I'll go for a calculator, right? Calculator basically is what? Is simply put a simple tool which can actually help me, to do mathematics. Okay. And this is basically like a AI agent in itself right now. Okay. And this is also what we call as a tool. Why is it called a tool? Because this is an external tool right now, which is kind of helping me to do something over here from scratch. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So let me just kind of come back. Let me just enable the tool mode over here. Why? Because now, whenever I ask a normal question, I want AI to answer on its own. But whenever I ask a mathematical question, I want AI to go to the tool and give me answers from there. That's what I'm going to do right now. Okay. So once again, I'm going to simply get this chat input to my OpenAI, right? And I want to connect this tool to the tools tab over here. Okay. Now, by the way, when we connect a tool, okay, to the LLM, you have to also change the system prompt. If you give an agent an instruction. Now, I'll see what is the instruction at the backend given to the agent. You're a helpful assistant that can use tools to answer questions and perform tasks. Let's try to make it a little more better. Let's simply say that, let's also have one more line over here which says, use Markdown to format your answers properly, embedding images in URL, just in case if we need that, right? And why do we simply put this small line over here? Because sometimes what will happen is that this calculator will give us the entire equation. We don't want the equation. We want the final answer to come up. If we want the final answer to come out in natural language. So that's why we want to simply add that one line over here. Okay. So now let's do this. Let's simply press the play button over here so that this agent also gets initialized. And let's simply go to a playground right now. This time, let's ask the same question to the agent once again. Now, when I ask the same question to the agent, this time, what my agent should do, rather than calculating this using LLM, it should actually go to the calculator and then give the answer to me. You see right now, it's simply that, okay, there's an error in the API key. Okay, 1 second, wait, something is wrong. Okay, 1 second, we just initialize my API key over here. Okay, actually, my API key is gone. Yeah. 1 minute, wait. I don't know why. Okay, one time. Use OpenAI. GPT-4 mini. 1 second, which we'll troubleshoot this. Yeah. If I give my API key to the tool, 1 second, wait. Okay, done. So if I give my API key right now, just a minute. Yeah. Okay. Done. All right. So now let's simply hide the API keys. Let's once again give the input over here. Let's give the tools over here. Let's initialize this chat feature. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to a playground. Let's start a new chat. Let's give the same question once again. Now this time ideally what will LLM do? LLM should actually go to the calculator app. Okay. Go to calculator app right now and give the answer to me. 11379.098. Right. So actually is a seems to be the correct answer. Let's see the steps. You can also see the steps what it did over here. Okay. So calculator calculated this entire step for me, give the answer to me, and it basically calculated the 11379.098 minus 0.94. And this answer came in natural language to me right now. So this is how LLM is able to use a tool called calculator. Now, along with calculator tool, let's take for example that what if I want to now give a tool to check my Gmail, right? Or check my calendar that we added earlier. So what do we do over there? So far, are we clear, guys? How do we do it? How do we actually, got a calculator tool for us? How do we connect our LLM? How do we get the input and output over here? I hope you're very clear so far. If you're clear till now, give me a clear chat box. And are you guys loving this so far? Are you guys like able to understand the power of, of basically LLMs currently? Yeah. Okay. Let me summarize what we did first. The first what we did is we created our agent over here, which is called the, OpenAI agent over here, right? This agent did not have power to do calculation. So we gave him calculation power by calling a calculator tool over here, right? And input basically is where I give my input as a chat. Output is what the answer I get from my OpenAI, right? And I was able to connect all of these things using the OpenAI API key. I was able to calculate an option to it over here. Now, let's assume that, I would want my agent to go and, go to my website over here. Let's take, go to my calendar over here. Let's look at the calendar right now. Let's really go back to the LLM currently first. Let's ask a simple question. And can you make an event invite, or let's say calendar invite, for tomorrow at 10 a.m. with, let's say, Roshni on AI meeting, right? Now, typically what will happen is, because my LLM doesn't have a power to go to my calendar, simply say, I do not know, right? Or it'll simply just give some wrong answers to me right now. Because currently LLM doesn't have the capability or the power to go to my calendar at this point in time. Okay. Let's first try to get the answer. See, it simply says executing current date and event. Okay. See, it's like to do this, great calendar invite for tomorrow. With Roshni, please get me with tomorrow's date and time, how long will the meeting last, location, description. Once every I can probably help you with the invite, right? But typically, if you see, it's used basically kind of a tool for current date and time, but it do not have my calendar right now to kind of make an event over here, unfortunately. So now let's kind of give it a calendar. Let's just give my access to my calendar. For doing so, I'm going to use a application called Composio, right? So Composio is what? Composio basically is a free tool which allows you to actually access multiple agents, with just no line of code. So again, absolutely free of cost. You simply sign in over here, make a free account. And once you make a free account, you can log in with your Gmail ID, right? And they have multiple apps over here. So I can simply search for calendar app currently. Okay, calendar application over here. You go ahead, Google Calendar. Click on Google Calendar. And then you need to click on Setup Google Calendar, and you to integrate Google Calendar with this tool. Very simple. Click on this particular button, and you click on this thing called New Integration, and you have to just log in with your Gmail account. That's about it. Very simple. Once you've done that, you get an API key from here. You take the API key from here, copy the API key. Okay. And then I can go to my agent. Let's make a tool this time, which can go to my calendar. Okay. So I just search for the tool called Composio. And I just drag and drop it over here. Okay. After first give my API key, so I'll give my API key, which I just got from my tool. Then I have to select an app name. I'm going to refresh this over here. Now, Composio is a tool which can connect with you to multiple apps currently. So I'm simply going to search, and I'm going to type over here calendar. And see, I've got a Google Calendar over here. Click on Google Calendar. Again, press the refresh button over here. So it's going to show a tick mark. Tick mark means it's been authorized and they have a feature right now. They're connected to your calendar currently. Right. Also, there are actions to be used. What are actions, by the way? Actions are what kind of things that you want a calendar to do. So currently, what I want is this my tool to help me, with an update in the calendar. Number one, and number two, I also wanted to create an event in my calendar. I said I'm also create an event in my calendar. Let me just choose create event though. let me enable something and disable something else. I just wanted to like create a calendar invite for me right now with it. The tick mark is particular option, and I run the play button over here so that my tool can be working. My tool is initialized over here. Now, let me take this calendar on the left hand side. And once again, I'm going to connect this calendar. Okay. I'm going to connect this tool to tool section over here. So now what's happened is I've given my LLM the power to speak to my calendar, right? And now, when once again I go to the playground app over here, and if I ask the AI that, can you create a meeting for between me and Roshni for the date of 25th March 2025 at 11 p.m. for AI agents. Okay, that's it. Now, this request will go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will try to see which tool to use for this one. It will go to my Composio tool, try to fetch my calendar details, and actually then block a time, block a date, and send the invite to Roshni, and send the invite to me, and actually book a calendar invite for me automatically, right? This is how simple it is to build an AI agent. So AI agents doesn't have to be very complicated. It's just simple drag and drop tool. And when you're doing it for the first time, it might sound a little confusing to you, because it's a little advanced concept as compared to the basic ones. But you can actually connect any external application to your large language models, and you can try to build a software between you and them, a connection between you and them, and try to automate work. So imagine this that, I've got a secretary, and she always looks for my flights, looks for my, meetings, and then informs me about the meeting request and all. Well, I don't need that anymore, because my AI agent will do the task for me automatically, right? And you can see over here, with simple prompt, it's going to create a calendar invite for me, and see, it actually gave me date and time, duration 1 hour, between you and Roshni, she just confirmed, and you can see my calendar invite over here automatically, right? And that's how I simply build my meeting invite at almost like lightning speed right now. Pretty cool, everybody. How many guys found this to be super duper cool? Give me a quick cool in chat box. Yeah. And this, my friends, is the big bad world of AI agents. So AI agents are the future. Trust me when I say that, right? They can actually help you to automate all of your tasks. And most importantly, they can actually also do the same thing. So, Vijay, can you tool for writing ad copies? Well, yes, typically, so you have to connect. So again, you have to find a tool which will connect with your Google Ads, right? And you can check Google Ad copies for you, and optimize copies for you, typically, right? Can we run LangChain locally? It's quite slow on cloud. Yeah, I can do that. LangFlow you can run locally as well, but then you require a good memory for that, right? So now if Roshni is busy, then she can chat to a chatbot and update the calendar invite. Okay, can we chat from Teams or Slack? Yes, you can do that. So you can connect anything to anything. My output was chat output, but my output can be a Slack, my output can be a WhatsApp, my output can be anything. I can take this chatbot to my WhatsApp, or I can take the chatbot to my Slack, I can take the chatbot to my Discord, I can take chatbot anywhere that I want. So they just what are the multiple Roshnis? So technically, then in that case, I can ask AI to ask me questions of multiple Roshnis. I can also build a tool to check my contact list, and do a lookup every single time and ask me system fusion on that. So really, that's exactly what I showed. So if you use a tool called Langflow, and with Langflow, you're able to connection done for yourself. So how to is it again voice recognition? Yes, you can do all that stuff. So you can add voice recognition, you can add voice notes, right? But every single thing that you do, by the way, will add up to your cost, right? Because you have to pay for the API to convert voice to text. So you can use a Whisper API and you can convert voice to text automatically. Connect to Alexa. Yes, so Alexa is an API, so you can connect AI to anything, to be very honest. Okay. And whatever you connect to will all come at a cost, right? That's what it is. Okay. He's mentioning GPT AI to my knowledge is paid up, not free. So yeah, the first one was GPT-AI was actually paid. Okay. Okay, this AI agent, I can have voice recognition. Suppose, yes, you can do that. As I told you, you can have your voice recognition and all that stuff. How can we add other open databases? So, Kamlesh, there are options available on the left-hand side on Langflow. You can basically, you can ask it to talk to any database of yours. You can talk to Superbase, you can talk to Google Drive, you can talk to anything else. But you have to get an API for every single thing, right? Other tools like Langflow, yes, there are many tools like Langflow. There's tools like NA10, there's a tool called AutoGen, there's a tool called Fee. There are many tools in the market today which do that, but Langflow is the easiest to start off with if you're a beginner. If you're a professional, then you can actually use something called as NA10. Yeah, and it is also free. But then, you have to pay for the API though. So that's how it is. Okay. All right. Are there any links to APIs and all? So I would suggest all the recording and you can take it from there, to be very honest. For Langflow, just simply just go to langflow.org and you can figure out things over there. Right. Okay. So I pasted the key. After that, it's resetting again and again. See, when you paste the key, whenever you kind of paste anything, you have to always ensure one thing. So let's take, for example, once you've pasted a thing over here, you have to simply press a small little, run component. Okay, every single time. So suppose when I'm calling calculator, I'm calling a say composer tool. It's always click on the single run component every single. When you run a component, then it will basically is running properly. And after you paste the API key, you have to give an instruction to the agent, saying that you're a helpful agent and you can work with any AI tool. You connect all the tools to the tool tab. You connect the input to the input tab over here. Connect the output to the output tab over here. Okay. So maybe you just want to take a screenshot of this, of this image to understand where to paste what, so that you can actually then try to update your free time. Okay. Yeah, recording will be given to all of you. Don't worry about it. Okay. Do we have mobile network APIs? I'm not sure of that. Maybe you can check it out, Sanjay. Just Google search. There's everything. You can build any agent today. You just need to get there are hundreds of connections to be available right now, to be very honest. So the thing is, suppose you do not have a connection, you can simply use a webhook. And you can basically also connect so as long as you have an API of anything, you'll see the webhook to connect whatever you want to whatever you want right now. Okay. So that's how it is. So yeah, all free APIs have date limit. They do not specify more than 50 messages per month. I mean per minute right now. Okay. But how many guys over here at least got introduced to the world of APIs and world of LLMs, and you thoroughly, like got a good introduction at this point? Give me a quick yes in case you got a good introduction today, right? Okay. So does this free API have rate limit? Yes, it does. As I told you, 60 rate per minute. How secure is integrated with the application? Very secure, because they all have cloud-based app. They're very secure. Can your agent's chatbot? Yes, you can use it. So once you've kind of built your agent, you can figure a single API over here, and you can take this API to any chat agent of yours if you want, right? But you require for getting it to a website, you need to have some technical skills. Best thing is copy that code, ask ChatGPT, it will build an agent for you for a website as well. Okay. Can I agent chatbot method? As I told you, yes, you can do that. So Alprubi, there's no concern of security, because typically when using API, what actually happens is these platforms are extremely secure. And you're using a third-party platform to get your details, and eventually using APIs of theirs to connect yourself with their calendar, right? And today all professional apps do the same, to be very honest. Whichever apps you build, you have to have an API connector between them. They are pretty much secure. Don't really worry about it. DataChash is a professional cloud platform, and they give you free hosting services for Langflow. And they actually are pretty secure. Okay, so how to deploy my agent to a mobile application? So it is possible. For that, you need to know a little bit of coding, because you need to then API integrate and get basically a API built to your mobile app to kind of get things done. Do I hallucinate? AI don't hallucinate. The LLM hallucinate with it. So the large language models that you see at the backend, right? They essentially will hallucinate a little bit, but then you can mitigate that with good prompt engineering skills. But yeah, that's with every agent. Every agent hallucinates right now, right? I mean, that's the thing with industry tackling with. But they break down your complex down into small statements, and with that they basically are able to, you know, solve complex tasks for yourself right now. So, Mohammed, whatever you use it for, let's say scripting or automation also, you typically whatever. So it's you can give a AI an agent a role that you're a tester, you're basically like, a Python agent, and you basically are doing XYZ stuff. And what you just did that was automation, right? We're connecting one app to other app and automating our workflow right now. So you can get the scripts done using OpenAI, and you can automate your tasks by connecting the APIs of your software with the software and get things done.